In the dead of night, we heard a cry that didn't belong to the darkness. A white lion cub, alone, surrounded, and seconds from death. We saved him from hyenas that night. But months later, he came back to us for a reason we never expected. The African savanna at night is usually alive with distant sounds, crickets, wind through grass, the low calls of unseen animals. But that night, something felt wrong. The air was too still, too quiet. Then we heard it. A sharp, trembling cry cut through the darkness. It wasn't the roar of a lion. It wasn't the laugh of a hyena. It was smaller, fragile, afraid. We stopped moving. Every instinct told us that sound meant danger. As we followed it, the moonlight revealed tall grass pressed flat, as if something had been pacing in circles. Then we saw him. A white lion cub, tiny, covered in dust. His legs shook as he tried to stand his ground. His pale fur made him impossible to miss, especially for predators. And they were already there. Hyenas moved in the shadows, their eyes reflecting the moonlight, their eerie laughter echoing softly. They weren't rushing. They were waiting, playing with time. The cub backed into a thorn bush, trapped, exhausted, and completely alone. There was no sign of his mother. No pride. No protection. Just a baby facing death. At that moment, we understood something terrifying. If we didn't act now, there would be nothing left to save. The hyenas stepped closer, their bodies low, confident. They knew the cub couldn't run. He barely had the strength to cry anymore. His breath came in short, panicked bursts. His eyes locked on the darkness around him. We didn't have time to plan. One of us grabbed a flare. Another shouted. The sudden explosion of light and sound shattered the night. Flames hissed. Shadows scattered. The hyenas froze for a split second, then bolted, disappearing into the tall grass. Silence returned. The cub collapsed. We rushed forward, half expecting him to fight, to bite, to run. Wild animals are taught to fear humans. But he didn't do any of that. Instead, he let out a soft, broken sound and pressed his small body against the nearest warmth he could find. Us. His heartbeat raced beneath our hands. His body was hot, dehydrated, and shaking. There were scratches along his side, close calls. Too close. As we lifted him gently, he didn't resist. He didn't growl. He simply closed his eyes, as if he had already decided something. That this was his last chance. And somehow, he trusted us to take it. We brought him back to camp before the sun rose. The cub barely moved, only lifting his head when he heard our voices. Water came first, then food, slowly, carefully. His body was fragile, his future uncertain. The nights were the hardest. We took turns staying awake, listening to his breathing, afraid it might stop. Sometimes he whimpered in his sleep, legs twitching as if running from something only he could see. Day by day, he grew stronger. His eyes became brighter, his steps steadier. His curiosity returned. He would follow us clumsily, trip over his own paws, then look up as if embarrassed. We named him Asha, Hope, because that's what he was. But even as we laughed at his playful swats and gentle purrs, a heavy truth followed us everywhere. This was never meant to be permanent. He belonged to the wild, to a pride, to a life without fences or human hands. And one day soon, we would have to let him go. The thought hurt more than we expected. When the time came, we told ourselves this was the right thing to do. Asha was stronger now, faster, more confident. He needed his own kind. We tracked a nearby pride and waited. When the lions appeared, powerful and calm, Asha stepped forward. His tail was low, his movements cautious. But there was something else too. Hope. He walked toward them, as if he already believed he belonged. The pride paused. Lionesses watched closely. A dominant male lifted his head, eyes narrowing. The air grew heavy. Still. Then came a low growl. Not an attack, but not acceptance either. One lioness snapped at the air near Asha's face. A warning. Clear. Final. Asha froze. He looked back once. Not at the pride, but toward us. Then he slowly turned and walked away. No chase. No fight. Just rejection. We stood there in silence as his small white shape disappeared into the grass. Nature had made its decision. Or so we thought. Morning came quietly. The savanna glowed gold as the sun rose, but none of us spoke. We told ourselves Asha would adapt. That survival meant learning to be alone. Then we heard footsteps. Soft, Familiar. A shape appeared near the edge of camp. It was him. Asha stood there, thinner, tired, his movements slow. He looked like he hadn't slept, like he hadn't eaten much. But he was alive, and he had come back. He walked straight toward us and sat down, pressing his head gently against our legs. No fear, no hesitation. Choice. No one spoke. Some of us cried openly. Others just knelt beside him, resting a hand on his back, feeling his steady breath. In that moment, it became clear. He had been rejected by the pride, but he had chosen us. Asha's story didn't end the way nature usually writes it. Today he lives protected, safe, surrounded by care instead of danger. He runs. He plays. He rests without fear. He may have been born into the wild, but his heart found belonging elsewhere. Sometimes, survival isn't about where you come from. It's about who shows up when everything else walks away. Asha lost his pride, but he found a family.